Hey there, focused learners, and welcome back to another explainer, where we take complex compliance frameworks and make them crystal clear. So let's just jump right into it. Today, we are exposing a massive critical blind spot in HR security compliance. Now, if you're involved in information security management systems, or ISMS, you already know your organization is really only as secure as the people operating it. But what if I told you there's a glaring vulnerability lurking right inside your human firewall, one that routinely catches even the most seasoned compliance officers completely off guard? Well, get ready, because we're going to break down exactly what this gap is, why it's failing audits, and the absolute most efficient way to fix it.
So ask yourself this: are your highest privileged users completely ungoverned? I know, it sounds alarming, right? Well, it definitely should be. You see, when we think about ISMS audit failures, our minds usually go straight to the digital stuff, misconfigured firewalls or unpatched servers. But the highest stakes failures, they actually aren't digital at all. They're human. Imagine meticulously locking the front door of your building, but then literally handing out master keys to people who aren't even on the official company roster. That is exactly what's happening in countless organizations today, and it is a one-way ticket to a failed compliance audit.
Which brings us to Section 1, the hidden HR security gap. The vulnerability hiding in plain sight. Here's the crazy part. Organizations will spend hundreds of hours carefully documenting HR security policies for their standard employees, and in doing so, they create a massive blind spot. Look at it this way. If you hire a junior marketing assistant, they go through rigorous background checks, they sign super strict NDAs, and they are fully governed by your policy. But your peripheral workers? Contractors and interns are often left completely ungoverned. Organizations bring in third-party staff all the time. We're talking high-privileged IT administrators who literally hold the keys to the kingdom. And just because they aren't standard full-time employees, they bypass the HR security policy entirely. They are operating in a complete security void.
Let's move to Section 2, Anatomy of an Audit Failure, the consequences of ungoverned access.
So what actually happens when an auditor from a certification body is reviewing your ISMS and stumbles on this oversight? Well, they follow the audit trail. They look at who actually has access to your systems versus who was formally screened. And the result? A major non-conformance. In the official language of ISMS audits, this is an absolute showstopper. When high-privileged IT administrators, or frankly any third-party staff with significant access, are onboarded without mandatory background or criminal record checks just because they're contractors, you've completely failed the fundamental test of HR security. You simply cannot certify or maintain your certification with a finding like this.
All right, on to Section 3, Core ISO 27001 requirements, the standards you are violating.
To really understand why this triggers such a severe penalty, we have to look directly at the authoritative text of the ISO 27001-2022 framework. The framework honestly doesn't care about your internal payroll classifications. It cares about risk and access. When you neglect those third-party staff, you are directly violating Control A.6.1, screening, which clearly requires background verification checks for all personnel proportional to business requirements. On top of that, you're violating A.6.2, Terms and Conditions of Employment, because these contractors aren't bound by your information security obligations. And finally, you violate A.6.5, Responsibilities After Termination, because when that contractor eventually leaves, there's no formal mechanism making sure they return assets or maintain confidentiality. You're basically failing across the entire human resource lifecycle.
Now for the good news in Section 4, the Expert Policy Template, the ultimate solution.
Trying to fix this gap from scratch requires deep expertise and a massive amount of legal and operational alignment. Nobody has time for that. Fortunately, there's a professionally drawn remedy available that saves you from having to reinvent the wheel. The ISO 27001 Institute offers a done-for-you HR security policy template. And no, it's not some bloated 100-page document that absolutely no one is going to read. It is exactly 14 meticulously crafted, fully editable pages of precision-engineered compliance. It's specifically designed to cover every edge case, including those high-privileged contractors and interns we've been talking about.
Operating under the aegis of the ISO Training Institute, this framework wasn't just thrown together. It was actually developed by a committee of information security experts and curated by principal auditors and lead instructors. What it does is facilitate really robust HR security controls that naturally fold contractors and interns right into your governance umbrella. It seamlessly aligns your human resource practices with those strict ISO 27001 requirements, literally doing the heavy lifting of protecting sensitive data for you.
Let's look at how easy this is in Section 5,
Fast-tracking ISMS maturity. Quick customization, massive reward.
You know, the biggest hurdle to compliance usually isn't a lack of desire. It's the friction. Writing policy from scratch is painfully tedious. But the mechanical ease of implementing this done-for-you solution removes all of that friction. It's so simple. Step 1, you secure the file. Step 2, you just do a simple find and replace. The document uses these generic placeholders like ABC Technologies Private Limited or the acronym ABCTPL. You literally just swap those out for your organization's actual name. Step 3, drop in your logo and align it with your day-to-day operations. It takes just a few minutes to customize the whole thing.
And here is the real payoff. Taking those few minutes to customize the document, followed by sincerely implementing its contents, instantly grants your organization a 15 to 20-year head start and ISMS maturity for these specific requirements. Let that sink in. You completely bypass decades of trial, error, and painful audit failures, instantly elevating your security posture to a masterclass level.
Wrapping things up with Section 6. Next steps for compliance. Secure your human firewall today.
For all the compliance officers, CISOs, and IT managers tuning in, listen, you simply cannot afford to have a blind spot where your highest privileged users are operating totally outside your governance. Remember, a secure system is only ever as strong as its most ungoverned user. So, head directly over to ISO 27001.institute right now to secure this expert template, take full control of your entire human firewall, and permanently eliminate the risk of a major non-conformance. But before you go, I want you to ask yourself one question. If an auditor walks straight into your office right now and asks for the background check of the third-party contractor managing your servers, what would you hand them? Think about that. Keep learning, keep securing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.